All right. I have to do, it says I haven't got enough gigabytes or something on a disk. Oh, I have to clean off my disk. All right. Actually, I could clean all of them off. Okay, Parshas Vayechi. We talked about Asher. We talked about Dan. In some words, they're the same thing because the tribe, the camp of Dan had in it three tribes. But we talked about this yesterday, that when the Jews traveled in the desert, they traveled and they encamped in the desert. They traveled in four groups around the ark, four big groups, and each group had three tribes in it. Right, the tribe of Yehuda had in it Shimon and Yisachar, and the tribe of Dan had in it Asher and Naftali. And the tribe of Ephraim had in it Manasseh and Benjamin. Anyway, those were the tribes. So, but what we're interested now is the camp of Dan. The camp of Dan, it says it was the last camp that traveled. So this humility of being the last earned a special blessing, that the camp of Dan, they were able to return everything that was lost by all the other tribes. And this Kabbalistically means to return to return even this level of shenevad. Everything in Hebrew is ma. To return, even in according to Kabbalistic teachings, ma is the ability of a Jew to connect and surrender himself to the Creator. And when a Jew loses this, he's in not good shape. It makes him more egotistical. It makes him unable to feel the truth of what Judaism is. So Dan is the one that brings it back. And Dan, the tribe, the camp of Dan brings it back. It says, to the degree this is such a high thing, this humility that Dan has to be the last, this is so high that Asher, one of the people of the tribes which are in the camp of Dan, Asher, it says that he will dip in oil his feet. The foot is the lowest part of the person, and oil is the highest, represents chachma, the highest aspect of man. Wisdom, what is it, genius, the inspiration, conscience, faith, all these things which are above understanding. It says that the foot of Asher was in them. It's something like what it says about Mashiach, that his feet will stand on the mountain of olives. The olives are the source of oil, and the mountain is the source of the olives, and the Mashiach will stand on not only on the oil or on the source of the oil, but the source of the oil, the feet, the lowest aspect of Mashiach will be on them. Why? Because of this aspect of humility. Of humility. Okay, we did this. And then we talked about Dan. We do remember, I'm just summarizing what we said. We talked about the tribe of Dan. Dan means to judge. A person is to always constantly judge himself, and everything that he does in the world, is it according to the Shulchan Aruch. So that's the object of humility, or Kabbalat Ol. Kabbalat Ol means accepting on yourself the yoke of the Torah and the commandments, which this attaches you to something which is above understanding. Above understanding. That's the only key, the only door to connecting to the creator of the universe. That's what, like we learned in the Chassidut. Creator, namely, what has to be what Kabbalat Ol, that you realize that you're doing the commandments, and the commandments are totally above understanding. And even that which we can't understand, the fact we understand them, that's also a miracle. That's also above understanding. That's all accomplished by Kabbalat Ol, accepting the yoke, linking yourself to God like an ox is linked to the cart, without understanding, above all comprehension, but knowing that you're connecting to the Creator. And then when you do the commandments, you really do connect to the Creator. So that's this aspect of Dan Kabbalat Ol. Okay. When loitem, according to this, Vedman verstehen, we can understand dem inyan, the fact that Dan, the tribe of Dan, is to himself went in the last. It's the last camp. Masef Mikol Machanot is the gathering of all of the other